Hello, it's Ryan again with Puff Adder Speed and Fab. I wanted to take a moment to make a quick video about Sally right here. Sally goes home today, but I thought it would be wonderful to record what we've done to Sally and give you an idea. Well, just be honest, I'm recording this one for me because we've done a lot and I'm really proud of this car, and I want to remember what I've done for future builds, especially for drag and drive type cars like this. So without further ado, let's get after it. All right, so Sally came to us as a roller. My friend bought Sally. We named her Sally after, we're children of the teenagers of the 80s, and so we like to call her Sally that girl, ooh, Sally, that girl. So anyway, Sally came to us as a roller, 1993 original 4-cylinder car, had been an Outlaw 275 race car, so it was pretty much in the condition that you see it. We've got a full race clip right over here. You'll see as a fiberglass front end, but we also have, you can see the white fenders right there on the trailer. We also have the full front end for Sally, but it's going home without the front end because the new owner is going to mount up the fiberglass front end. But Sally came to us as an Outlaw 275 car, mostly gutted, had a good rear end in it, and the wheels and brakes and everything, but no roller. So we decided to make it an LS drag and drive car. So my buddy had a pretty good, what GM calls a B15 motor. So a crate motor. It's an LS3, so 376 cubic inch crate motor that would take up to 15 pounds of boost from General Motors. So he had bought that, we had installed it, we used a laser, we shot the center of the car, and then we made motor mounts and had the entire thing leveled and squared up. It was a really good deal. And then he had a couple life-changing events and decided that he didn't want to do this anymore. So at that point in time, I decided that I would procure all of his stuff that he had, and that I would sell it off and not make any money, but at least get my money back on it, and it worked out well for the both of us. So what I did was I took the big motor out of it that was in it, and I put it in my Silverado right there, which we'll make another video later on. That's Walt, after Walter White, pretty on the nose on that one. We took the motor out of Sally and put that motor in Walt, and went from there. So I've spent about, I would say, 300 hours building this car. I ran across a young man who's going to come pick this car up in a bit, and we did some horse trading. I traded a full Coyote forged drivetrain and a swap to put in this Foxbody. This is a 93 4-cylinder that we're going to convert to a Coyote. Full built system, a new transmission, Ford Racing products, electronics, and also for a blower shop 671 blower that's going to go on another project that we'll discuss on another video. So this one is a 5.3, so 325 cubic inches. It is basically what we call a stock bottom end. So I pulled this motor from a 2004 Silverado. It was running. I heard it, I watched it, I saw it. It had 188,000 miles on it, and I brought it home and I took the heads off it and set those aside, and I pulled it all apart, and I cleaned everything, and then I gapped the rings. So you take the rings, sit like this, they're in a circle, and they have a gap on the end. Well, you widen that gap because as things heat, they get together, they close, right? So heat expands metal, and so when the rings close, they touch. Well, they can't. They now have to expand outward, right? They touch here, so they can't expand. They can't contract inward, so they expand outward, and they grab the sides of the cylinder. So what you do is you gap those rings to put more space in them, so the rings can close more as the heat comes in. From boosted motors. When you boost something, you add air to the engine, it creates an immense amount of heat, and you can break things. So I gap the rings. I put the bottom end back together, and I put some good heads on it. These are PRC heads. They're made by Texas Speed. I put a Summit Stage 2 turbo camshaft in it that I got on sale from Summit because, you know, cheap guy. And then it has push rods and valve springs and rockers. They are all Texas Speed stuff. Good company. So Tick Performance, Texas Speed, Brian Tooley Racing, they're all pretty comparable for that kind of stuff, and all good people, and they're always willing to help a good hot rodder out. So you can always reach out to them if you have any questions. So again, a lot of these parts were stuff left over from that my buddy had accumulated, somewhere that I had accumulated, and put this together. So I'd always wanted to mount a turbo on this side of the car and run it across. But some of the cool things we did, so this has you'll see right there, has a dome pressure sensor, because we are running boost solenoids that will control. You can program in the computer how much boost to have. You can create a curve to ramp in your boost. So and you can do that over time, over RPM. So let's say you're drag racing and you think you're going to run an 8-second quarter mile. You can program the boost all the way through those full 8 seconds, and we'll have a trigger inside that starts that process, and you'll see it. This is the blow-off valve. We ran pneumatic lines for everything to make sure that it looks good, it's good and clean and professional. When I do electrics, I like to run two trunks off the battery. One is what I call a clean side, and one is a dirty side. So clean side is for everything that's for all of your electronics. So you'll run a positive and a negative inside the car to the front, wherever you're going to put your engine control unit. And then you run a positive and a negative on the outside. So this is a 4-gauge return from the alternator right there. So that goes all the way to the back of the battery to charge it. And then you run your big double-aught cables. You can barely see them right down. Maybe you can't. Right there. So that's your big wires directly to your starter. So you have a big positive and a big negative right to your starter. And then I come off of there for my fans. So you got dirty fans, right? Fans create a lot of EMI and a lot of noise. And you don't want any of that to mess with the electronics. We run all of that clean stuff inside and the dirty stuff outside to keep all of the noise separate on all of the channels. So we'll come on over to the inside and I'll show you how we set it up. Again, it's gutted. It had a roll cage in it that probably wasn't going to certify, but it was set up for a guy about my size, about 5'7", 5'8", and my buddy is 6'4", and that wasn't going to work for him. So we cut the cage out of it with the intent of putting in a cage, but the new owner is going to put in his own cage. And so I built this little center console here, as you can see, and then I ran our Holley ECU. This is a Terminator X with no transmission control, because we're not doing transmission control. And then you could see how inside I ran my clean stuff. So there's our big positive, our big negative, and these are any wires that go to the back of the car. These are any wires right here that go to the middle part of the car, and then up front. Anyway, under the dash is our boost control solenoids and our wires that go to the front of the car. So let's go show you that real quick. So under here we have a bulkhead right here fitting. So right there is where all the wires come out the front of the car. So your main trunk for your main wiring harness, your and then any other wires for your, for your sensors or anything else. And your fuel pressure regulator is right here. So that's where our fuel pressure regulator is, and then our fuel pressure sensor is right on top. So let's head back inside real quick. And since we're in here, we did put a Motion Raceworks, another great hot rod company out of DeWitt, Iowa. Great place to be if you're ever up there. Just really cool. Swing by and check them out. And then also, if you get a chance, go to the Field of Dreams baseball diamond and museum up there. It's pretty freaking awesome. So right here we got a Hurst shifter. It's pretty freaking sweet. We have our our trans brake is on this button, and over on that button is your bump button that will bump it in through the staging lanes. So we have a main power right here. We have, I'm sorry, that's our start. We have our main power, and then this next one over is line lock, I'm sorry, boost. This turns on the boost solenoids, and this one turns on our line lock. So let's go ahead and fire it up. So we'll turn it on, and then we are ready to go. We don't need our boost and our line lock on. We got fuel pressure. Yep. So awesome. Hope that gives you a little idea on it. I know my neighbors love that at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. We also have 2 master cutouts. I wire one inside right here so that the driver can turn his power off if he wants. But then I also wire one back here in the bumper per NHRA regulations. All right, so here's our battery setup. I normally like to run a battery with side posts and a battery with front posts, and use these mil-spec battery terminals because it gives you a clean area to pull. I like to run my ECU to a different post, so if they're on the side, I'll run to the side. The battery's a good noise sink. It just soaks up all that EMI and all that extra noise and that's coming across everything. So here's our big wires that run down. Most of them, a lot of them run down to the master cutoff switch here in the bumper. And then again, there's the second master cutoff switch that kills all the electronics to shut the car off. We've got our breaker here to make sure we're safe. And then we've just got a little 10-gallon fuel cell here. And then that, we have dual pumps coming down below, and we'll get ready to go over those in a second. All right, so we got the car up in the air, and we got dual pumps. One pump runs at all time right here on the left, and then the second pump kicks in when you get boost. So we have 340 liter per hour of fuel going at all time, and then we can add up to another 340 liter per hour, and the math puts that on E85, over 1,000 horsepower. So we have a transmission cooler right there, and then right above it, you'll see we have 3 relays. One relay for each pump and one relay for the transmission cooler fan, and that's how we keep the car cool. So we come on under, you can see we've got our fuel filter here. We got a bit of a drip coming from this fitting right here, so we'll get that snugged up. And we've got a flex fuel sensor here, so this measures the amount of alcohol in the fuel. Just it can keep the proper ratio of fuel to proper air fuel ratio. You can see we've got our lines that we run down here all the way down here. Now we also have a broken fitting on our transmission cooler, so I made kind of a mess when I fired up. I said, and go, shh, don't tell anybody. Nobody will know, right? Because there's only 115 of you are going to watch this, and not all the way to this part, so love you lots. So we've got our trans brake here, our cooler lines, and then this is actually to a transmission temperature sensor. And that is about it. This one, we put a remote oil filter on it. So it comes out here, it's got a good deep sump pan, all the way across. And I don't know, I'm pretty proud of this build. This is gonna be good, this is gonna be fun, and this one is gonna take the owner. The owner's gonna have a good time with it. I think the last thing I'll point out is this is our line lock. I would like to put the line locks in the rear brakes, and what that does is that actually locks out the rear brakes. So you turn it on when you are not pushing on the brakes, and then you will, and the solenoid blocks all the fluid that comes to the back half. So what that does is give you the ability to do burnouts, and I'm a big fan of burnouts and being able to, I mean, that's the ultimate in hooliganism, right? It's just doing is just doing burnouts. Now, I don't recommend doing burnouts on the street or burnouts anywhere, you know, that are illegal and unsafe, but I do like the idea of having a good time doing burnouts. So I hope you enjoyed that quick overview of Sally. She's going home today. We've got to fix a transmission fitting here. When the owner shows up, he's bringing the fittings, and we'll get that that fuel fitting tightened up, and we'll get everything back and going. So thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you like these. Subscribe, like, and comment, or all of the above. And I thought I would only make one, but I had really good positive comments on the last one, and I really want to work on my education, my ability to educate folks, and moreover make these videos for my two little grandsons. They like seeing me on the YouTube, and it's a little easier. This will be out there for posterity, so they can look at it when they're 15 and go, I remember when that guy was cool, or when that guy could remember me. That's probably the way it's going to be. I remember when that guy could remember me. Anyway, you all have a great weekend, and just a great rest of the day. So, all right, have a great day. Bye.